Sige, so we have your summary lecture for biochemistry. Once again, I'm Dr. Rubio. So hopefully okay naman kayo guys. Okay, let's prioritize the different concepts in biochemistry. What are the most important concepts? What are the concepts na baka matanong-tanong ng konti dyan? We'll see the trends. Okay, let's first focus on Gen Chem concepts. So thermodynamics, doctors, pag-usapan natin yan. It is how heat is being transferred from one object to another in a system in the universe, basically. So there are 4 laws of thermodynamics: zeroth law, first law, second law, and third law. Now, don't be afraid in memorizing kayo. Madali lang yan. Kaya isipin nyo dyan, guys. The first law of thermodynamics is the first law na natutunan mo about energy back in grade school. Okay? It is energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transformed from one form to another. For example, in signal transduction in the eyes, di ba? Light energy pa, tatama sa mata mo, di ba? It becomes, is being transformed via signal transduction into electrical energy afterwards. So that is the first law of thermodynamics. The first law you learn in grade school. Second law, think about entropy. Entropy, 2. So all about entropy, and ang point niya is that ang tendency ng mga bagay-bagay in the universe ay to go into disorder. Gaya na sabi ko before, only life is the one trying to find order in the universe of disorderliness. Okay? Third law, entropy, okay, becomes constant as you go to absolute zero. Now, ano ba ibig sabihin ng temperature? The proper definition of temperature is that it refers to the movement of your molecules. Now, think of this an analogy, okay? You have an engine ng kotse mo, di ba? Pag ang engine ng kotse ay hindi gumagalaw, ay example, hindi ka nagpatapuan ng kotse, hindi yan nagbabibrate, right? So, walang nangyayari. There's no heat, di ba? There's no disorder. So, blank value siya. At zero temperature, okay, for example, hindi rin gumagalaw yung mga molecules mo. Therefore, hindi ka disordered. No, kapag ang kotse ay pinaandar mo, nagbabibrate siya, di ba? As you vibrate the car, nagkakaroon siya ng heat after, right? Ganun po yung nangyari sa ating mga molecules. As they vibrate harder, faster, bumping each other around, heat is being generated. So as temperature rises, mas makalat ang yung molecules, pak. And because that happens, you are having entropy. Pero kapag still lang sila, hindi sila gumagalaw, entropy becomes a constant value. Okay, so that is your third law. Well, a zeroth law, it's basically the transitive property. Pardon about that. Nabulag lang din ako. I think I am post-duty when I recorded that video. But yun nga, if A is equals to C, B is equals to C, then A is equals to B. Okay? Okay, methods of heat transfer is very important. Conduction. Okay, basically kapag meron kang direct contact. Yun nga. Ang nangyari dyan guys, makawa ka ng kalan na mainit, malilipat ang init sa kamay mo afterwards. That's conduction. Convection is happening in fluids. Fluids are involved here are your air and water. Radiation. Siya ang kakaiba dyan. Hindi niya kailangan ng medium para mapasa ang heat from one object to another. Okay, ang nangyari dyan, kailangan mo ng electromagnetic radiation, simply known as light, para mangyari yan. So, there are 3 types of ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. A, B, and C. So, yun nga, sorry for that, di ko lang ata na-delete ng konti, but A is for accelerated aging, B, it's a bad mutation, okay, leading to burns, can lead to cancers. So marami tayong pwedeng mnemonic dyan. Well, C is the one being screened by the ozone layer. So at present, we still have the ozone layer. So the UVC is still being screened. So please, this is the correct answer. But over time, when global warming progresses, baka yung UVC na ang maging number 1 cause ng cancers and burns kasi hindi na-screen ng ating ozone kapag nasira siya ang ating UV light C. Okay. Guys, let's talk about etymology. Etymology is about the origin of words. Okay, guys, origin of the words. So minsan, don't complicate stuff. Yung sagot minsan nasa pangalan mismo ng ating terminology. So let's review this testable concept. Diabatic. Means without. Dia meaning dalawa, either loss or gain. A diabatic process. Okay? Constant. Lahat ng may iso, constant yan. Asynthalpic, constant enthalpy. Asyntropy, constant entropy, and so on. While steady state, all parameters are held constant, meaning wala kang binago doon. So steady state lang siya dito. Thermoregulation in humans. So parati to guys, always remember when you hear the term hypothalamus, always think of the organ controlling body temperature as one of its major functions. So there are actually 4 means of losing heat in humans: convection, conduction, and radiation, as discussed earlier. Now, evaporation is actually the effect of mostly of your convection. So, di ba, when you evaporate, pang isang bagay, nangyayari, ang mainit na air molecules ay tumataas, it goes up. Ang mga molecules na malamig, they go down. So pinagpawisan ka, nag-ano ka, Spartan race ka, nag-gym ka, tumakbo ka sa labas, nag-bike ka, nagkakaroon ka ng perspiration sa balat mo, right? So nangyayari kapag yung ating sunlight namamasa yung balat na may pawis, yung pawis ay magiging mainit. Habang tumataas ang temperature niya, siya ay may tendency na maging gas afterward. So tataas yung ating hot gas molecules, pero bababa ang ating cold molecules. So because of that, nagkakaroon ka ng tinatawag na evaporative cooling. Kasi yung gas molecules na katabi ng iyong balat ay mas malamig na. Okay? Now, what if the skin temperature is higher than the environment temperature? Okay? It means mas mainit ka kaysa sa environment mo. So you are actually losing heat via 2 methods: radiation and conduction. Conduction, kapag mainit ka, di ba, hinawakan mo yung friend mo. Di ba? Uy, ang init-init mo naman, di ba? So, meron kang conduction doon. But the major is radiation. Actually, all matter in the universe radiate, pero not so much compared to your sun na nagkakaroon ka ng light, nagkakaroon ka ng visibility of light. Okay? But, pag ganun ang usapan, always think of radiation as the major. Ang parang simple na analogy ko dyan, for example, ayan, may hot na person, okay, na nakita ka, di ba? Mapapansin mo siya, di ba? Nag-radiate agad yung vibe niya across the room. So, ganoon mo siya isipin para matandaan yung concept na ito. Now, what if the environment is higher, okay, than the skin in terms of temperature? So, the best method here is to have evaporation. But take note that humidity may affect thermoregulation by limiting sweat evaporation and thus heat loss. Right now, okay, napaka-humid, di ba? Kahit na umulan after, pero parang feeling mo, parang nakukulog yung heat sa katawan mo. It's because of the humid temperature in tropical countries such like the Philippines. Okay? Alright, now let's talk about heat gain. Paano ka nagkakaroon ng heat in the process? So, there are actually 2 methods here. One is your shivering thermogenesis and non-shivering thermogenesis. So first, focus on shivering. Kung malamig, di ba, gusto mo magka-heat, di ba? Ang tendency mo ay magkakaroon ka ng contraction of your body muscles. And because of that, heat will generate. Okay, so there are 2 types of shivering: low intensity and high intensity. Always remember guys, kapag ang kailangan mo ay agad-agaran at very intense agad, you always use glucose as your fuel. So for your short-term, high need for shivering, ginagamit mo ang ating glucose. Pero kapag pangmatagalan, di ba, you use fat in the process. So low intensity shivering pero pangmatagalan, doon ka gumagamit ng fat molecules. Kaya for example, okay, I think that is a story ni Dr. Baticulon. Pupunta ka ng isang marathon, di ba? Ang gusto mo is magkaroon ka ng intake of glucose at least 1 to 2 days before your event, kasi gusto mo mag-store ng maraming glycogen. Kasi pag kailangan mo ng rapid burst of rapid burst of activity during the marathon, you want to use your glucose in the process. So think of that concept. Now, for lower mammals, okay, especially bears, for example, yung mga oso, ganun. Yung pa pala yung usa, deer pala yun. So, they have your brown adipocytes or brown fat. Okay? Brown fat, because of that, nangyayari, it generates its own heat kahit hindi sila gumalaw. And that is what you know as your non-shivering thermogenesis. Guys, pH maraming nalilito pa din dyan. Okay, don't forget, kapag low pH ka, you have a higher hydrogen concentration. Pag high pH ka, you have a low hydrogen concentration. Again, the normal pH in the serum is 7.35, 7.45. Now, let's move on to your amino acids and proteins. Okay, medyo mahaba to kasi ito halos yung pinakabida sa ating macromolecules. Guys, paspasan tayo dito, okay? Most common organic molecule in the body, protein. Pero pag ang usapan ay environment, it's your carbohydrates. The most common protein in the body is your collagen. To be specific, your type 1 collagen, the one found in your bones. The largest protein, I think wala sandot yan, but this take note is your titin. Kasi malaki ang mga titans. Diba? Sa ating Attack on Titan, malalaki ang ating mga titans, so titin is the largest protein in the body. An amino acid, it is a chiral. The smallest side chain is your glycine because the side chain of glycine is only hydrogen. So it means it is a chiral. Moreover, it has the smallest side chain because hydrogen is the smallest atom in the periodic table. Deuterion, it refers to an amino acid bearing no charge. Okay, so kapag ang nangyari dyan, both the amino part and the acid part are actually charged, pwede mag-cancel out sila dyan. Kasi positive against a negative charge, nag-cancel out in the process. Okay, ang tawag sa ganyang phenomenon ay deuterion phenomenon. Okay guys, mga first lang to, branch chain amino acids accumulating in MSUD, your maple syrup urine disease, valine, leucine, and isoleucine. The one accumulating in your phenylketonuria, that is your phenylalanine. The side chain is your tryptophan. Increase in cardiovascular disease is your homocysteine. And take note that homocysteine is actually increase in both folate and cobalamin deficiency, both your B9 and B12 deficiencies. What interrupts an alpha helix in globular proteins are your proline and glycine. Now think of this mnemonic para hindi kayo malito. Kapag batay gutom ka na, nakapila ka sa cafeteria, you try to break the line. Diba? No, gutom na ako, diba? So you try to break the line para mauna na sa pila. So you're breaking the line, you're breaking here the alpha helix, that is your line. So PG, proline, the one involved in the transfer of your long-chain fatty acid to mitochondria for beta oxidation, that is your carnitine. Arginine is a semi-essential amino acid. So as mentioned, diba, kapag essential, it should be found in the diet. Non-essential, diet. In times of adolescence, puberty, di ba? Meron kang increased need to make skeleton. Kasi tumatangkad ka eh. You're having your growth spurt. So during these times, you need to have arginine. And not only that, in terms of stress, in terms of after surgery, you require arginine, okay, to perform repair afterwards. So arginine, from being non-essential, dahil nagkukulang sa katawan mo, okay, kailangan mo siyang kainin sa diet mo, making it semi-essential. 21st amino acid discovered in the body is your selenocysteine, and the 22nd amino acid is your pyrrolysine. And testable concept here, it's found in archaea. More on that on microbiology, okay? Archaea is what? It's a domain in the tree of life. Okay, meron kang archaea, meron kang eukarya, meron kang prokarya. Archaea are actually related to eukaryotes, pero mukha silang bacteria. They're found in extreme environments. Okay, sa tabi ng mga volcanoes, sa mga hot springs, ganun. But they're also found in the GI tract. Kaya siya medically important somehow. Kasi they can influence actually metabolism according to new studies right now. Sabi nila, your microbiota can affect your cardiovascular health. And there are some studies confirming this new hypothesis. Guys, basic na to sa inyo. Inhibition and excitation in the CNS. Kapag ang usapan ay excitation, so wait, glutamic acid, excitation parati yun. Pero pag inhibition, okay, depende yan sa ating part ng CNS. Kapag GABA, brain. Kapag spinal cord, glycine, ang ating neurotransmitter here. Okay, guys, I have not included this in your handout kasi nasa handout na rin naman siya, but probably in the next handouts. But this is a good slide showing you the derivatives of amino acids. Doc, ano ba yung mga important dyan? Okay, one, you must know, of course, pare. Okay, trip mo siya, no? Tryptophan forming your melatonin, serotonin, and your niacin. Okay? Pare, true love does not exist. Guys, sabi L dito, it's an L dopa. Pare, true love does not exist. Must at least memorize that kasi it can be asked in Fisho as well on how you form your catecholamines. Okay guys, konting review ng Fisho. Ano ba ang most common na pinaproduce ni adrenal medulla? It's your epinephrine. 80% ay epinephrine. Pero pag usapan ay mga nerves na, majority dyan ay norepinephrine. Okay? More important stuff though, glycine. Okay, that's the parent amino acid for your heme formation. Guys, alam niyo na yan, private team hall always argues but never tires. These are essential amino acids. But the A is always arginine. Okay, arginine dyan, it represents your semi-essential amino acid ng arginine. But never tyrosine. So lahat ng team mo nasa essential, pero tyrosine, it is a form of a non-essential amino acid. Okay guys, protein structures, di ba? You have 4, primary, secondary, tertiary, and quaternary. Ang matanong dyan guys, one of them is ito. You read the amino acid sequence from the amino side, the N-terminus side, going to the C-terminus. My mnemonic here, N-terminus, the amino side, C-terminus, the carboxylic side. Diba? So, amino acid. Okay, so guys, the bonding here is also important. Dok, ang dami naman. Ganito lang yan para mas simple. Lahat ng structures, of course, may peptide bond. That is the bond that combines one amino acid residue to another. Now, when memorizing tables, you don't have to memorize everything. Only memorize yung mga mas konting laman. Ayun, strict dyan. Don't complicate stuff. Marami pa kayong aralin. Okay? So, ang memories pala dyan, guys, primary structure peptide bond lang yan. Pag secondary, ang dagdag dyan ay only your hydrogen bonding. Ang tertiary quaternary, almost everything nandun na. That's how you attack this table. Okay? Now, the only structure that is not affected by denaturation is your primary structure. The one which is only made up of what? Made up of only, tama kayo, sir, peptide bonds. So let's talk about the N-terminus and C-terminus. They are very important, not only in reading the amino acid sequence. N-terminus contains your targeting signals, while C-terminus contains your retention signals. These signals are important for what we call your cell trafficking and sorting. Dok, ano ibig sabihin yan? Now, natin yung kwento dyan. If you have protein synthesis, nangyari yan pare saan? Sa ating mga ribosomes. Can be a free ribosome, can be a ribosome attached to your rough endoplasmic reticulum. Yung mga free ribosomes, kaya sila free kasi they want to produce proteins that are needed by the cytoplasm. So, box na yun. You don't have to package them after. Now, yung mga protein na nagagawa sa ating rough endoplasmic reticulum, meron niyang kinakausap na Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus, siya yung taga-package, kumbaga. So, ginagawa niya, O pare, pareng RER, saan papadala to? Papadala daw niya sa lysosome. So si Golgi apparatus, maglalagay siya ng targeting signal sa package na protein at ipapadala niya to sa ating lysosome. So that is for cell trafficking and sorting. Okay? So if the protein needs to enter an organelle, N-terminus should contain targeting signals. Basically, parang ganito siya, guys. The RER is the factory. The Golgi apparatus is yung Shopee. Okay, siya yung tagalagay ng targeting signals natin. Napapadala mo kay Crush. Okay, yung ating pindala. So guys, if torpe ka right now, okay lang yan. Pero wag mo na ngayon, after ng board exam. So, padala mo si Crush ng isang simple gift. Basta not too creepy. Okay? Take note guys, the bond that is preserved when proteins are denatured is your peptide bond, since it's the only bond found in the primary structure. Guys, minsan, nasusurutan konti yung biochem ng mga ibang medical physiology and minsan patho concepts. One of them is your protein folding disorders, your prion diseases. Yan yung mga Kuru, yung mga Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, okay, mga mad cow disease. These are your spongiform encephalopathy syndromes. Ang nangyari dyan, nagkakaroon ka ng accumulation ng ating prion-related protein na may SC or scrapie. Kasi they're beta-plated sheets. Normally kasi, they are actually PRPC proteins. And they are alpha helix information. That is the normal form. Pag alpha helix information nila, they're actually labeled to chemicals and proteases. Pero due to multiple mechanisms, some of them, malastan talaga. Nagkakaroon ka ng sporadic mutation. Some of them ay nakakain ng prion disease, such as in Kuru. Kuru, ito yung sakit among Papua New Guinea tribes kung saan they eat their relatives kapag namatay sila. It's their tradition eh. So, nagkakasakit sila, kakaroon ng Kuru. So, kapag minalas-malas ka or nakakain ka ng taong may prion problem or nahawa ka via instruments, yung PRPC mo, magiging PRPSC sila, which is actually beta-plated, the abnormal form. And that form is actually resistant to proteases and chemicals. Kaya pinakayo ko sa lahat ay prion. Although meron nga one time sa hospital na prion disease, pero nakakatakot. Ayoko na munang puntahan kasi nakakatakot yun. Anyway, hindi naman siya nakadex sa akin. Okay, so Alzheimer's naman tayo. Alzheimer's, the most common na neurodegenerative disease of the brain. Okay? So, ang matanong dyan usually is the ApoE. Okay? Specifically, guys, sorry, my mistake. Please include ano ba yung allele na nagkakos niyan sa yung ApoE4. It's your epsilon 4 na ApoE. It's actually a potential mediator for initiating your Alzheimer's disease problem. Next slide. Hemoglobin configuration. Okay? Notably, nakakalimutan ng students yan. Thought form or R form, or T form, relax form, or R form. Pareho lang sila. Pag relax form ka, you have high oxygen affinity. Pag thought ka, kapag parang stress ka, ganun, you have low oxygen affinity. Now, kung relax ka, di ba, you're more huggable, di ba? You're more relaxed, di ba? So, you can more accommodate people. Pero pag stress ka, thought ka, ayaw mo sa tao, basically. So, you have low oxygen affinity. Collagen fibers. Whenever you hear the term tensile strength, always think of PAC. Collagen fibers. Okay? Guys, the required substances in hydroxylation is very important. It's in your lecture. Forgot to put it in your handout. Sorry. Tagal na yan. Nakalimutan ko lang talaga. But take note of these 4. Vitamin C, the ferrous iron, as discussed before in your diagnostic exam. Oxygen and your alpha-ketoglutarate. Pag cross-linking, kailangan niyang copper kasi copper is required for your lysyl oxidase enzyme. Now, if you have a defect in the hydroxylation step, scurvy tawag dyan kasi you can have vitamin C deficiency there. Okay? Ay, sorry, mali ito guys. Hindi ko lang nabago. This is not scurvy. Yan ay Menkes disease. Okay? Cross-linking problem, you have poor copper in the body. That is your Menkes disease. Okay, you can have that problem. Now, if you have a problem in triple helix formation, as one of the steps, can lead to OI or osteogenesis imperfecta. Ano ba yan guys? It's the brittle bone disease. Meaning meaning madaling mabali ang iyong buto. Kasi haphazard yung kanyang collagen fibers. So hindi maganda yung kanyang pagkakagawa. So because of that, ang mga problems lang niya, hindi lang po sa bone. Can have a blue sclera. So guys, in the exam, they ask for typical manifestations. It's all about pattern recognition. Panabasa mo guys, blue sclera. Sa basa mo, brittle bone. Pak, that is your osteogenesis imperfecta. Guys, parating na to lagi. Bone type 1, cartilage type 2. Your type 3 collagen is reticulin fibers. 4 on the floor, type 4. Type 7 are anchoring fibrils. They are like hooks. Okay, they hook your basal cells to the basement membrane. Okay, so OI is a bone problem. Achondrogenesis is a cartilage problem. Okay, Alport syndrome. Ano ba yan, Doc? Okay, it's your hearing loss, ocular problems, and hematuria. Diyan nagkaka-problem ka with type 4 collagen. Now, kapag meron kang good posture, you can have two symptoms, major. Hemoptysis and hematuria. Doc, bakit? Kasi your lung, basement membrane, and your kidneys share the same collagen fiber, type 4. Yung type 4 kasi may mga subtype pa yan. But for IM na yan, hindi na malaman at this level. Or for pato siguro. Now, ano nga, pag defective yung protein na yun, it involves both, it both damages your lungs and your kidney in the process. So you can have hemoptysis and hematuria. And both of them are a problem of your type 4 collagen fiber. Guys, okay, mali yan. Okay, sorry. Again, mahirap talaga when you're checking your own slides kasi medyo bias ka na, alam mo yung okay na. So, elastin fibers is elasticity. Matik yan. Pero ano bang problema sa ating Marfan syndrome? It is the fibrillin. Fibrillin is the scaffold protein para magawa ang ating elastin fibers. Pero kung dyan parang template, siya yung template mo, doon mo ginagawa yung iyong elastin fiber. Now, Marfan syndrome, okay, you have here multiple problems. You can have a lanky body, mahaba, tall, matangkad. Okay, dahil matangkad ka, pangat yung collagen mo, you have high risk for one, pneumothorax. Pangalawa, you can have aneurysms kasi nga, pangit yung collagen sa yung blood vessels. And now, you also have many problems, basically. But there's actually a distinct feature here na gusto ko malaman nyo at the clinical level. Okay, at least baka matanong sa IM, baka matanong sa pato. Marfan syndrome has lens ectopia or ectopia lentis, meaning displaced ang ating lens. Pero meron siyang unique feature. The lens are displaced supero-temporal or upward-outward. Now, in this scenario, guys, think of a patient na may Marfan syndrome na Doc, tingnan mo, I have long, lanky arms. So, we have a supero-temporal na lens dislocation. Okay? Kasi, kakaiba yan compared to your homocystinuria. They also have ectopia lentis, pero iba nga yung direction. Goes downward and inward or inferonasal. Meaning, pababa siya, papunta sa iyong midline, sa iyong ilong. Okay, so take note of this clinical distinction. Guys, your IGs, okay? Tanong yan. Antigen, okay, that's the epitope. Andun nating epitope interacting with the antibody. The antibody naman has its paratope involved in the immune complex formation. Papain, the one found in papaya, okay, can destroy your immunoglobulin into 3 parts. Papain, or the pepsin in your stomach can divide it into 2 parts. So, kung isipin nyo guys, kung kumain ka ng papaya, okay, at meron kang immunoglobulin sa iyong tiyan, nasisira siya into multiple mechanisms. One, papaya destroying your immunoglobulins to 3 parts. And your stomach destroying your immunoglobulins into 2 parts. Papain, 3 parts. Pepsin, 2 parts. Okay, guys, function. These are also found in your handout, don't worry. Nasa immunology lang siya, okay? Most produced IG, IgA. Most abundant, your IgG. Complement activation, the one that activates the classical pathway of complement system, IgM and IgG. The one that may pass the placenta is your IgG. But siya importante na malaman kasi take note of your torch infections, okay? If meron kang bata na bagong panganak, meron siyang mga malformation, you want to test for congenital abnormalities. Because of that, mamimili ka, what test to use? A serology containing IgG or IgM. Siyempre yung bata, if meron siyang congenital infection, namanan yun sa kanyang nanay. So the best antibody to use for testing is your IgM. Kasi it means if ang bata ay nag-positive sa IgM for that specific disease, ibig sabihin ay most likely siya ang gumawa nun. Kasi IgM cannot pass through the placenta. Kasi pag nag-IgG ka sa bata na mayroong congenital manifestations due to infection, baka kasi galing yan sa nanay ng ating bata na pasyente. Kasi IgG can pass through the placenta. So you can have a false positive result. Okay? IgE, mast cell activation causing anaphylaxis, causing allergies, helminth infection, IgE pa rin tayo. And even parasites. Now, ano ba yung mga nakadagay na Ig sa ating B cells na hindi pa exposed sa totoong mundo, the naive B cells, the one that are not exposed yet to the antigen outside. So it's IgM and IgD. Now, some texts say, lumabas to before, IgD has what we call immunomodulation function. So, was asked before. Primary immune response, IgM ang unang tumataas, pero pag sanin ng katawan mo, okay, sa infection, IgG yung sumunod na tumataas. At mas tumataas siya at mas malakas kumpara sa IgM. That's your secondary immune response. Now, carbohydrates. Carbs, as mentioned, is the most common in nature. And these monosaccharides, the building blocks of the carbohydrates, are actually bounded by the glycosidic bonds. Cellulose, plant cell, chitin, fungal cell walls, insect and crustacean exoskeleton. The universal fuel of the body and the fetus is glucose, glycogen storage in animals, starch in plants, while these sugars is the most common configuration of sugars in the body. You have to know that because in the proteins, ano ba ang kanilang configuration? It's in the L configuration. Proteins, L configuration in the body. While sugars are mostly D configuration. Guys, glycogen, okay, it's the storage form in your animals. Okay, now, ang glycogen, hindi siya parang perfect straight na structure. Okay, it's actually a very fluffy structure. So kapag linear part niya is being connected by alpha-1 for linkages. Pero if magkakaroon ka ng branching, okay, alpha-1,6 yan. Ang starch mo naman, it composed of two main components. Okay, an amylose and an amylopectin. So paano sila nagkakaiba? Ang amylose mo is less in number. Ang amylopectin mo, it's the majority of your starch. Pero ang amylose mo is actually a perfectly straight structure siya. It is only composed of 1-4 linkage. So straight structure lang yan. Pero ang amylopectin mo, it acts just like your glycogen. Meron siyang 1,6 linkage. Glucose transporters. So, madali lang yan, guys. Kapag G ang iyong simula, automatic, it's because of your facilitated diffusion mechanism. Pero pag meron kang SGLT, kasi sodium is being used here, it's a form of secondary active transport. Now, how to memorize this, guys? You only memorize the very pertinent ones. GLUT4 is insulin-dependent. Kailangan mo ng insulin para gumana sa GLUT4 mo. They're only found in two histological structures: adipose tissue and striated muscle. So, is GLUT4 found in smooth muscles? Hindi po, kasi it's non-striated. So, it can be found in two structures, in the cardiac tissue and in the skeletal muscles, because they are striated. GLUT2, think of two stuff always. Beta cells. Beta is the second letter of the Greek alphabet. You have two kidneys. Okay, you have two major lobes of the liver, the left and the right. Okay, GI tract, GI has two letters. So, GLUT2 ang kanilang major mechanism. Now, ito guys, yung kanilang location. In the GI tract, okay, the GLUT5 is found at the side of the lumen. Siya yung nag-absorb. While the gluton naman is found at the basement membrane of your GI lumen. Okay, magbisayo ng konti, lipids naman tayo. Okay guys, the major storage form of lipids at the body is your triglyceride. Guys, it's the same with your triacylglycerol. Don't be scared, pareho lang po yan. Now, let's have a summary of your properties of your lipoproteins. CM, the chylomicrons, they are the ones having the highest triglyceride content. Tapos, dahil sobrang laki nila, chylomicrons sila, having the largest diameter, and full of triglycerides. They tend to float on in water. They'll go upward. Kaya they have the lowest density. Okay? LDL has the highest cholesterol content, the bad cholesterol. HDL, the good cholesterol, contains mainly protein. Okay? The major route of elimination of cholesterol is via the bile excretion. Now, let's think about a clinical scenario here. Dahil doon na lumalabas ating cholesterol. Okay, we know in physiology, di ba, kapag hindi ka pa kumakain, bile is temporarily stored in the gallbladder. Actually, when you fast too long, ang nangyari, nag-store ng ating nag-crystallize ang ating cholesterol sa ating gallbladder. Pag nangyari yun, magkakaroon ka ng gallstones in the process. Ano pa scenario dyan, guys? When you diet so fast, nagpapayat ka ng sobrang bilis, from 80 kilos bigla naging 50, wow, di ba? Pero, ini lang doon kasi nga, kaya siya dapat dahan-dahan kasi baka, dahil nga too much cholesterol in your blood, ang tanging way para malabas siya via the biliary tract. So, mas naiipon siya sa ating gallbladder if mabilis ka ng papayat. So, you have a high risk for having gallstone. So, kapag tinanggal lang yung gallbladder because of gallstone disease and complications, problematic yan kapag kumain ka ng samgyup. I have a batchmate in residency. Hindi na kumakain ng samgyup kasi wala na siyang gallbladder. So, kapag kumain siya ng samgyup, ang nangyari sa kanya, magkakaroon siya ng steatorrhea afterwards. So, ingat po sa ating pagpapapayat and pagpapasexy. Fatty acids, guys. Okay, ito, na-mention ko na kanina yan, guys. But take note of these properties. Bakit siya mahalaga? Long chain is mainly transported in their chylomicrons. The chylomicrons travel in your lymphatic system, okay, via the lacteals of the GI tract, and they form a confluence in the abdomen known as your cisterna chyli. It is the inferior, baba, the termination ng ating thoracic duct. The thoracic duct will now go upwards from the abdomen to the thorax, ending in the left side of the neck, entering the circulation. Okay, check, mastered. Your MCFA and short-chain fatty acids, they are relatively on the side of hydrophilic, meaning they can interact with water. They relatively do not need a protein para ma-transport sila in the blood, or in the body, rather. So they can be directly absorbed in the bloodstream via the hepatic portal vein. Since it is the major vein supplying nutrients to your liver. Bakit siya mahalaga? Okay? Now, in patients in the hospital na naka-NPO na matagal, hindi makakain. Diba? Usually start your what you call TPN, a total parenteral nutrition. Okay, when that happens, sinasaksakan natin ng lipid formulation yung ating pasyente. That formulation contains actually medium chain fatty acids and short chain fatty acids kasi they can be absorbed by the blood. They don't give long chain fatty acids in that formulation. So with that said, kahit hindi ka kumakain yung ating pasyente, meron pa rin siyang means para magkaroon ng fat nutrients. So that is actually good. Thank God, may ganung kind of concept. Now, what if a patient naman na, NPO na matagal, di ba? Na mayat, di ba? Kapag ang GI tract mo ay hindi gumagana masyado at naka-NPO ka, and then ay nag-atrophy ang ating intestines. Okay, doon nabasa ko ang ating SCFA kasi they're actually the food for your colonocytes, according to Schwartz. Sabi ni Schwartz, you need your acetic acid, butyric acid, and propionic acid. These are short-chain fatty acids to be the energy of your colonocytes. So kapag ang pasyente, binabalik mo na siya to feeding stage kapag naka-recover na siya from his or her disease, habang di pa siya nakakakain, you can give SCFA containing nutrients para hindi siya super mag-atrophize. Ay, hindi super mag-atrophy rather yung ating intestinal cells. Mainly your large intestine. Okay? Guys, paulit ito parate. Essential linoleic and alpha-linolenic acid. But remember, linolenic acid is not the parent compound of your arachidonic acid. Okay, guys, cholesterol dito. Take note of the derivatives and take note, guys, that, okay, mali ito. Ay, hindi, tama pala, sorry. Na-stress agad ako. Anyway, ito guys, ang point lang dito. I want to highlight this kasi nga, baka nagkakos ng confusion. The 7-dihydrocholesterol in the skin, when exposed to UVB light, is converted into vitamin D3. Okay, so no enzymes involved here. Okay? Bile acids and 7-alpha-hydroxylase. So take note of these rate-limiting steps. Usually in the exam, you don't have to memorize very, very low metabolism. Isa lang ang pati na minemorize ko, but that's me, glycolysis. Okay. The rest, di ko na minemorize. Only focus on important enzymes involved in diseases, those of the rate-limiting step, those that are branching to other metabolic pathways. That's how to memorize them or study them. And you have to know the function of your metabolic pathways and their different compartments in the cell. Okay, more on that later. Nucleotides naman tayo. Okay guys, konting review lang. Nucleotides contains your base, sugar, and the phosphate. Pag may phosphate ka, that is a nucleotide. Pag base and sugar ka lang, that's your nucleoside. Sugar side. Okay? Now, the base is connected to your sugar, the pentose sugar, via the N-glycosidic bond. The pentose to the first phosphate via an ester bond, and a phosphate to the another phosphate via anhydride bonds, which contains lots of energy. So, if you convert ATP, a form of nucleotide, to ADP, dahil mataas ang stored energy sa ating anhydride bonds, nagkakaroon ka ng very efficient mechanism for releasing energy from ATP. When ATP becomes ADP, napakaganda ng energy na lumalabas. Kaya guys, pumapansin mo, bakit wala kang using of ADP para maging AMP siya? Kasi konti lang yung energy na makukuha mo doon. So might as well replenish your ATP kasi large amounts of energy are stored in the bonding of anhydride bonds. Guys, how to read properly? Lumalabas to from the 5N to the 3N. That's how you read your nucleic acids. And the bond is between nucleotides to form a nucleic acid is your 3,5 phosphodiester bond. Guys, I think all students having difficulty here. Okay, guys, the monomers are your amino acids, monosaccharides, and nucleotides. These are the building blocks of your different macromolecules. Okay, para magdikit ng isang monomer to the other, you have the following. For the proteins, the peptide bonds. For the carbs, the glycosidic bonds. For the nucleic acids, we have your 3,5 phosphodiester bond, forming these polymers: protein, polysaccharide, and nucleic acid. Okay? Think of the schema parate. Don't be confused on different terms. Now, lipids are not true polymers kasi they do not need to bind with each other. Okay? Hindi sila tropa-tropa, but they only share one common physical property. They all hate water. So para yung tropa ng mga group of friends na hate ng isang someone, okay? No, parang ganun sila. They hate water in this case. But don't do that, okay? We're adults already. Okay. DNA and RNA, most common form, guys, the bDNA. The one found in the end of chromosomes are your zDNA. Z is found at the end of the list of the alphabet. A is for low humidity and low salt yan dapat, and high humidity. Sorry for that. The only protein coding RNA, the one that is most heterogeneous, is your mRNA. Makes sense. Kasi nga, siya yung gumagawa ng template para sa ating amino acid sequence. The most abundant is your ribosomal RNA. The one containing unique bases is your transfer RNA. Nutrition. Guys, ito, okay, I'll go into at least discusses ng konti. There's your EAR and the RDA. Those two parameters, they have a formula in your handout. Okay? And this, familiarize with them sa inyong handout. But you don't need to know how to compute them. Now, ang ating adequate intake, ginagamit yan kapag ang isang molecule ay, or isang nutrient ay, hindi makomputan ng EAR sa RDA. So it can be a value na based on studies, based on epidemiologic data para ma-determine siya. Ang ating upper limit naman, in this case naman, the upper limit, depende kasi yan kung ano yung reference value and kung kailan siya magkakaroon ng effect. It's the upper limit. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng ating mga nutrients ay magkakaroon ng effect sa katawan mo. So the upper limit is basically derived from, not a formula, but from studies across populations. Now, ano ang kailangan nyo malaman dyan? Kailangan mo magkaroon ng adequate nutrition sa isang tao. So kailangan at least above ka ng RDA, kapag known ang kanyang RDA sa EAR, para masabi mo na adequate ang kanyang nutrition. Kapag ang nutrient ay walang RDA, you need to use your AI kasi this is one derived from studies. So any value above the AI or adequate intake means that you have an adequate amount of nutrient for that day. Now, the upper limit is the upper limit. It's the upper limit of normal. Pag lumampas ka dyan, you can have risk for adverse effects. Okay, so kailangan hindi ka lalampas ng upper limit para hindi ka magkaroon ng toxic problems. Okay? Guys, matanong to pa natin. Pero baka masimple yung tanong sa iyo dyan. Okay, not so toxic. Hindi ko ipapakampitin ng maraming mahabang like yung ginawa ko sa exam ko before. Basta no, dapat ang ating carbs, proteins ay always 4 kilocalories per gram. Fat is 9 and alcohol as 7 kilocalories per gram. Always take note of these values. But ito guys, you have to memorize this. Medyo testable to eh. So you have to know that 1 kilocalorie is equal to 4.2 kilojoules. Please take note of this conversion unit. It is a testable concept. Okay guys, the AMDRs. This can be testable. Okay? I think this was asked during my time. And di ko siya masagutan. But in memorizing stuff like this, guys, you don't have to memorize them right now. Kasi kahit ako tanungin mo, 2 months after, bago mag-exam, makakalimutan ko yan. So these values, try to at least pasadahan sa mata bago mag-exam. Para lang may konting confidence na if lumabas sila, you have familiarity. Okay? But what I would like you to know here is this concept, the total energy expenditure. Take note that majority comes from the resting metabolic rate or the BMR, depending on how you take the BMR or RMR value, as explained in the lecture. Yan ang majority parati in a 24-hour period. But the most variable is physical activity. It makes sense because some patients are sedentary. Like tayo right now, nag-aaral tayo, busy tayo, di ba? We are having a sedentary lifestyle. Ako, hindi ako mapag-bike right now. So, sedentary ako. Para palaging active ako, ulit, tataas yung aking percentage ng ating expenditure for your total energy expenditure. Kasi nga, it's very variable depending on your lifestyle. Okay, guys? This was asked during my time, and yes, it can be asked. But take note of the formulas here. Ang pinaka nagkakamali dyan yung mga tao ay BV and NPU. Okay, medyo memorize to guys. Don't have to compute them in the exam, just have to know the formula because that is the concept involved here. Ang point lang niya, pareho ang yung numerator. Both are nitrogen used in tissue formation. Pero sa BV, it's the absorbed from food. Yung inabsorb ng ating intestine. Sa NPU, yun yung ating nitrogen na sinubo mo sa iyong bibig. So of course, magkakabago yan. Kasi of course, yung sinubo mo sa bibig, marami pa yung pagdadaanan sa katawan mo. Right? So that's the difference between BV and NPU. But along with your PDCAAS, all of them have a value of 0 to 1. Okay? 0 having the lowest value, 1 having the highest value. Doc, paano pag lumabas sa exam, what is the Perfect one daw. Always think of eggs. Okay, eggs, mga nuts. Yan. Yun yung mga may highest biological value. Okay, so yung ating iba, medyo less lang yun. Okay, basta pag-uusapan ay highest biological value, always think of eggs. What yung kanilang value. Iba sa ating PER or protein efficiency ratio. In this case, we're discussing here yung efficiency ng growth ng ating mga lab animals. Just your rats, for example. Pag at least 2.7 ka, you have an excellent protein source. Some values to memorize, this magdaanan bago mag-exam. The adequate intake level of her fibers, glycemic index levels. Guys, this one, very testable to. Production of colostrum, 12 to 6 weeks of pregnancy. Okay, and remember guys, vitamin D is virtually absent in breast milk. Kaya, high risk ang mga neonates sa ating bleeding disorders because of the water. Di ba, fat-soluble lang ang kanilang katawan. Moreover, as discussed before, vitamin K is mostly produced by your intestinal microbiota. Yung mga organisms sa iyong tiyan. Di ba, baby pa lang yun eh. Habang di pa nakakain yan, hindi pa na-introduce ang ating microbes. Sterile pa yan. Wala pa yung microbes. So, walang gagawa. And of course, pangatlo, ay virtually absent ang ating vitamin K sa breast milk. So, upon pregnancy, you give vitamin K administration para to lower the risk of having bleeding disorders. Okay, guys, let's focus on vitamins. Okay, vitamins D, K, biotin, pantothenic, niacin, they can be synthesized by the body. Ang D, galing sa sunlight. Okay? Kapag tinamaan ng ating skin to convert your 7-dehydrocholesterol into vitamin D3. Vitamin K, biotin, tsaka pantothenic, or produced by the intestinal microflora. Niacin, kapag naubos na siya, can be derived from tryptophan. Pero it's a very poor process kasi you need to use B6 and B2. And pangit ng kanyang ratio dito, parang 60:1 siya. Okay? Pero in this method, mas ginagamit ang B6 para gumawa ng niacin from tryptophan than B2. So if you have B6 deficiency, you can have more prominent pellagra-like syndrome. And strangely, guys, being in B12, along with fat, vitamins are stored in liver. For the specific, guys, vitamin A, your ito cells or stellate cells of ito. Hey, guys, in general to, in general, by biochemistry, fat-soluble ay mas-store sa ating liver and the adipose tissue. They're addict. So if they tend to accumulate in the body, they can lead to toxicity. While water-soluble, nasa tubig lang ng katawan mo. So, basically, iniihi mo siya everyday. Kaya actually, hindi ako fan mabigay ng vitamin supplements na BNC lang. Kasi, itake ko yan, iihi ko rin yan bukas or mamaya. So, rather, suggest your patient na lang na kumain ng nutritious food, right? Mas maganda yun kasi nga, hindi mo kailangang gumastos ng extra. So, dahil araw-araw mo sila iniihi, you have a high risk for deficiencies. Pero, Doc, bakit ganito? Bakit ang daming prominent na vitamin deficiency sa ating fat-soluble? Kasi, one, very common sila kasi we're in a developing country. So, high risk tayo for having food security problems. Basically, mas malnourished ang mga Pilipino. So, these are very prominent in our country. Kasi ophthalmia, it's the ocular problems in vitamin A deficiency. Always remember, guys, vitamin A deficiency, high risk for what virus? Measles infection. You also have a phenoderma. Vitamin D deficiency, rickets, children, kapag hindi pa nagsasarado ang ating epiphyseal plates. Osteomalacia, adults naman. Vitamin E, hemolytic anemia. Kasi, di ba, ang vitamin E is a powerful na antioxidant. If wala siya, madaling masira ang ating cellular membrane via lipid peroxidation. Because of that, kapag dumaan ang RBC cell wall sa isang maliit na blood vessel, madali silang mag-hemolyze, causing anemia in the process. And they can also lead to demyelination. Guys, take note ano yung vitamin na may parehong demyelination of the posterior columns? your vitamin E and vitamin B12. Pero iba ang mechanism ng kanilang anemia. Si macrocytic anemia ay B12. Si vitamin E ay hemolytic anemia. Vitamin K can lead the first to bleeding disorders. But take note guys, yung ating cute na polar bear here, ito, you can have vitamin A toxicity, sinabi ni Robbins yan, so baka matanong sa pato, if you consume a liver of a polar bear, usually nakikita sa mga sa mga Arctic explorers na gutom na sa kanilang biyahe. So because of that, you can have your pseudotumor cerebri. Okay, most potent naturally occurring antioxidants are vitamin E, mainly your alpha tocopherol. Ano ba yung mga involved sa vitamin K? Ako guys, ito I'm trying to stay away from 1972 kasi nga yung ibang students, dito sila. Tingin nila yung 1 sa 1972 ay factor 1. It's 10, di ba? So ako, personal preference ko lang to 2 plus 9 is equals to 9. Then 9 is followed by 10. Okay, para medyo safe ng konti. And take note guys, this as a testable concept. The prominent side effect of vitamin C mega dosage is diarrhea. Why is there such thing? Kasi nangyari guys, there's a concept of vitamin C mega overdosage. Di ba nga ang sabi ko sa inyo, we lack the enzyme, gulong produce our own vitamin C. Therefore, it becomes an essential vitamin in our diet. In contrast, lower mammals, they have that enzyme. So they can make their own vitamin C. So because of that, ang nangyayari, kung sabi ng mga ibang scientists and mga tao, yung mga ibang animals, wala namang maraming sakit. Bakit ang tao, ang dami-dami nating sakit? So baka daw, it's because of the lack of that enzyme. So you must take large amounts of vitamin C. This is not proven. There's no benefit in that. Pero in patients taking that, they have large amounts of diarrhea. So diarrhea is the answer sheet, not constipation. Okay, it's a testable concept. Think of that. It can be asked in IM. Okay guys, ACE, zinc, selenium. Those having antioxidant effects. Vitamin B complex features. Okay guys, isa-isahin yan. Okay, medyo marami sila. But of course, this table will be very useful for your review. Okay, basta take note guys, redox reactions, B2 and B3. B2 ang source ng ating FAD, FMN, B3 for NAD, NADPH. Tapos, if you have increase in carbohydrate intake, you must also increase your thiamine intake and protein intake, vitamin B6. Guys, alam niyo ba? In patients having your Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome, chronic alcoholic, kung nasa ER, ayan, meron siya confabulation, meron siya ophthalmoplegia. Ang treatment ay thiamine. Okay, to reverse that. But hindi siya enough ang thiamine. You must add a D5 solution, D50 para gumana siya. So, kailangan kasi nag-interplay yung B1 saka carbohydrate intake. Okay, para sila ay gumana sa iyong katawan. They have an interplaying mechanism here. Okay? Dok, bakit kailangan mo ng B6 in protein intake? Para gumana rin siya. Kasi most enzymes in the most pathways in the protein metabolism requires vitamin B6. Okay, B deficiencies guys, thiamine B1, beriberi, you have two types. Wernicke, wet beriberi is your high output heart failure. Kasi you have a decrease in SVR causing high cardiac output. Okay, ang yung dry beriberi is your Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. B2, 2Cs, B3, 3Ds. Okay? Dati, 4Ds yan, may death. Pero syempre, ayaw mo namang magkaroon ng 4D, memorize 3Ds yan kasi, B3, di ba? Mas madali. Energobalance, burning feet syndrome, your paan-totenic syndrome, obviously. Okay. B6 involved in multiple manifestations involved in amino acid metabolism. Biosine, egg whites, avidin. Guys, pellagra-like syndrome, B6 ang mas nagkukos niyan than B2. But both can have that. Doc, what if in the exam, may pellagra yung pasyente pero pero may B3. Then B3 ang sagot doon, niacin. Doc, wala po si B3. Pero may B6 saka B2. mas piliin mo si B6 kasi it's the one that causes a high chance for pellagra-like syndrome kasi it's more important in the mechanism of transforming tryptophan to niacin. Yan. Toxicities naman tayo. Konti lang yan, guys. B3, hepatotoxicity and podagra, facial flushing. While B6 is a sensory neuropathy. Kaya, ang mga taong nag-take, for example, isoniazid, TB patients, di ba? Kailangan ng isoniazid. And one of the adverse effects of that drug is that you can have peripheral neuropathies. Okay? Kasi it interferes with B6 metabolism, leading to B6 deficiency. Kaya usually, you give low dose levels of vitamin B6, ideally to those patients, para magkaroon ka ng preventive measure. Pero kapag ang nangyari ay nagkaroon ka ng sintomas na, don't worry, just increase the dose of your vitamin B6, usually to around 50 to 100 milligrams per day. Behind B12, guys, I've discussed this already. Basta you have to know here the differences. Both of them have reversible anemia. Pero si B12 ang mayroong irreversible na neurological problem. Both of them has increased homocysteine, as discussed earlier. Both of them has low folic acid kasi nga B12 deficiency can lead to B9 deficiency. Pero si B12 ay mayroong methyl malonic acid increase. Kasi as mentioned in the previous slide, kailangan siya para ma-convert si methyl malonyl to succinyl-CoA. So if absent siya, magkakaroon ka ng retention and accumulation of your methyl malonyl coenzyme A. Okay? Minerals. Iron metabolism, guys, ferritin is the storage form. Okay, pero ano ba yung protein na nag-store sa kanya? It's your apoferritin. Transferrin, transportation. Hepcidin is the one that controls iron metabolism. In inflammation, di ba, as mentioned, pag meron kang inflammation, may it be infection talaga, autoimmunity, after trauma, after surgery. Pag parang nagkaka-fever ka na, isipin ng katawan mo, oh my God, baka meron siyang infection. As mentioned, di ba, iron increase in the body, favorite ng mga bacteria. Kasi you can have a bacterial overgrowth if you have high amounts of iron in the body. So ang goal mo ay kontrolin yung dami ng bacteria mo. So with that, kailangan mong kontrolin ang dami ng iron in your blood. So tinatago mo siya sa iyong intestinal epithelial cells, saka sa iyong mga liver structures, saka spleen, kasi andun yung mga macrophages natin. So, ano nagtatago dyan? Ang ating hepcidin. So, increase in hepcidin leads to decreased serum iron. So, clinically, guys, you don't give iron. For example, yung pasyente naka-iron siya, meron siyang infection, hold mo muna. So, sa chart, hold iron for now, okay, until mag-resolve ang yung infection. Now, kapag low ang iyong iron in the body, okay, nagkakaroon siya ng negative feedback. Because of that, kailangan mo ng decreased hepcidin para ma-release ang ating iron into the blood. And take note, guys, these functions of iron, depending on the form. Ferrous, Fe2+, okay? Siya yung for oxygen binding, absorption via your enterocytes. Guys, ang part ng iyong intestine siya ina-absorb ang ating iron. Tama ka, sa duodenum siya ina-absorb, okay? Ferric iron naman is for transport and for storage. Copper, ang kailangan niyan, hepcidin, okay, also needed in iron metabolism. Okay, lysyl oxidase, cytoplasmic SOD, the one find cytoplasm. This enzyme requires copper and zinc in the process. Okay, it's a non-mitochondrial. Zinc stabilizes the insulin structure, spermatogenesis, and important in normal fetal growth and development. Pero ang fuel ng sperm cell flows, okay, tandaan niyo yan, not apodermatitis enteropathica. There's a wrong concept here. Akala ng mga tao, if you have zinc deficiency, nagkakaroon ka ng apodermatitis enteropathica. Hindi po ganyan yan. Ang zinc deficiency leading to caused by poor absorption of zinc into the body. Ang tawag sa sakit na yun ay acrodermatitis enteropathica. That is the syndrome. It's an autosomal recessive na sakit. If you have that, ang mangyayari, you will have poor zinc in the body. Because of that, magkakaroon ka ng mga rashes in the extremities, check, dermatitis. Magkakaroon ka ng diarrhea, check, enteropathica. So yung sakit na yan, yung sakit na yan yung cause ng iyong zinc deficiency. Not zinc deficiency causing acrodermatitis from now on. Okay? Other minerals, guys, manganese, the cofactor siya for what? Mitochondrial SOD. Guys, as before, molybdenum. Lahat ng may oxidase. Okay? Yun ang kanyang mismo na mineral involved. Cobalt, obviously, cobalamin. Cobalamin siya. If you have cobalt deficiency, pwede ka rin magkaroon ng macrocytic anemia. Chroma, in contrast to zinc, ang mo stabilize the insulin structure. But the negotiates the action of insulin. Fluid. Kapag deficient, carries. Pero pag sobrang dami, problemado rin yan. You can have fluorosis. Selenium is an antioxidant. As mentioned, part of the ACE selenium. Deficiency, Tishan cardiomyopathy. Toxicity, Cashin-Beck. Sabi ang chronic breath and next molecule tayo. GAGs, okay, yan yung mga yun, di ba? Glyaminox, normally, there is yan yun. So, ang para siyang ano, test rush, di ba? Yung gitna mo, that is the protein core. Yung mga parang protein core plus GAG, ang tawag sa kanila ay proteoglycan. Okay? So, GAGs and proteoglycans are not synonymous. Now, look at the image here, guys, from Withers. Okay, one of my favorite history books. Tignan mo, guys, the hyaluronic acid is dependent lang dyan yung independence dito. Okay? Most abundant GAG, not hyaluron. Reservoir of arachidonic acid is your inositol. And the marker of apoptosis is kapag the leaflet. Okay? Myelin sheath, sphingomyelin. Guys, I'm showing this table for you not to memorize right now. Guys, don't be scared, pero pwede siya matanong kasi in the exam. So at least daanan mo tong table na to before you take the exam. Look, should I memorize it right now? Wag. Guys, kahit i-memorize ko siya right now, makakalimutan ko yan baka next day. So at least memorize them the day before siguro. At daanan lang sa mata. Oo. Guys, slow yan, tumatagas ang information. Kahit anong basa ko ng Harrison sa isang topic, after 1 month, makakalimutan ko rin sila. So we're all humans, we're prone to memory loss. Okay? Okay, eicosanoids, these are the derivatives. Okay, let's have a brief recap lang. Lipoxins, okay, all of them, derivatives are inflammatory in nature, except for lipoxin. The natural vasoconstrictor and platelet aggregator is your thromboxane A2. Prostacyclin is the natural antagonist of your thromboxane A2. Therefore, it's a natural vasodilator and an inhibitor of platelet aggregation. Okay, leukotrienes, guys, C4, D4, E4. All of them are involved in asthma. Hence, you have your Montelukast. Di ba? Montelukast is a leukotriene receptor antagonist na binibigay mo to supplement asthma and even allergies. Pag chemotaxis is your B4 and of course your prostaglandin D2. And guys, chemotaxis, tinatawag mo yung mga immune cells going to the site of inflammation. So pare, tara, D2. So hindi lang po siya ang D2 ha. Hindi na siya ang chemotaxis rather. You also have your B4. Okay, enzymology. Daanan na ng konti yung mga notable concepts, okay? Okay, malapit tayo matapos guys. We have last 20 slides. Phosphatases, remove. Phosphorylases and kinases, add phosphates. The more important model here is your induced fit model. Okay, this guys, madaanan mo to kung nung kalimutan niya kasi you need to know that when working about the exam. Okay? ENSS. Okay, this was asked not during my time but usually parang a batch after me. So guys, kaya may tanong sa inyong exam before na what is a typical Filipino diet? Okay? Sabi natin ng iba, rice, vegetable, chicken. Uy, Mediterranean diet ata yan. Okay? It's actually rice, vegetable, and fish. Okay? That's your combination here. Ang mga Pinoy, mahilig sa merienda. Think of that. Ang preferred na fuel for cooking ay LPG. Ang gustong source ay ng tubig ay mineral water. Although ako, Coke Zero ako, unfortunately. Okay? Don't, kung yung sundan guys, magkakaroon kayo ng hyperuricemia. Magagawat na ako. Most vulnerable group of population for malnutrition, yung mga taong under 5 years of age. Dok, bakit? You have lots of parameters concerning your infants. Pero ang 5 years of age below, medyo konti pa lang. Actually, isa nga lang Sir Oplan Timbang. More on that on prevent. So, target group yan na hindi nabibigyan ng atensyon masyado. Okay? The preschool age children. Most prevalent micronutrient deficiency is iron always, and the most common cause of anemia worldwide and in the Philippines. The major cause of preventable mental retardation worldwide is iodine deficiency. Leading cause of preventable blindness in children is vitamin A, according to the expanded National Nutrition Survey. Guys, metabolism. So, I did not lecture this, but I would like to highlight some important points for consideration. Okay, kailangan nyo siyang malaman is before you head to the exam. That's the point of the summary lecture naman. Okay, guys, be familiar rather with your common names, the eponyms of these cycles. Baka kasi in the exam, lumabas, what is the rate limiting step for Krebs Henselate cycle? Diba? O diba? Naku. So, please use this slide for your reference. Okay? Daanan siya bago mag-exam. Take note, guys, always of catabolism and anabolism. Favorite ko yan gawin parati in metabolism. You have to know if the pathway is a catabolytic process or an anabolic process. Catabolism, katay. Kinakatay mo yung isang malaking structure into smaller pieces. Anabolism, synthesis. Pag isang metabolism, guys, nakita mo meron siyang NADPH. More likely, generally, it's a synthetic process. If meron kang NAD+, mukhang meron kang catabolic process there. Moreover, you must also know the sites of metabolism. Dok, bakit ka merong compartmentation? For example, the whole cell. If wala kang mga compartments dyan, wala kang organelle. So basically, isa ka lang malaking lalagyanan of different enzymes. If gano'n ang ating cell, naku po, wala mangyari dyan, magkakagulo. For example, think of a swimming resort, for example. Lahat ng tao, from children to adult to elderly, lahat sila nasa isang big swimming pool. Napakagulo, di ba? So you must have compartmentalization. May iba for adults, may mga active dyan na mga tao. Children, sa mga babies, parang sobrang malalim. Mayroong elderly, para sa mga chill-chill lang, yung mga nakasona, for example, di ba? So that parang ganoon din yung ating cell. Kailangan naka-compartmentalize siya para hindi magkagulo yung ating mga metabolic pathways. You must at least take note kung saan sila nangyayari inside the cell. Mitochondria, beta oxidation, dyan nangyayari yan. But please take note first that the first step, bago ka mag-beta oxidation, kailangan mo muna magkaroon ng fatty acid activation happening in the cytoplasm. Bago pupunta yung ating activated na fatty acid into the beta oxidation inside your mitochondria. Yun yung mga fatty acyl-CoA. That is the activated form for fatty acid. Okay? So at least know this concept. Okay? But take note that at least 3 of them, okay, can occur in either mitochondria and cytoplasm. The major ones, marami pa yan, pero these are the major ones. Heme synthesis, urea cycle, and gluconeogenesis. Again, these are the general compartmentalization of different pathways. And of course, the enzymes. The rate-limiting enzymes, okay? Give it take 2 to 3 items, baka 1 to 2 items, who knows, diba? But you have to know the differentiation, okay? And of course, a very important concept na maraming nalilito na tao, the fate of pyruvate. Actually, kung papansinin mo guys, the pyruvate molecule, it's the center of at least 5 pathways eh. Glycolysis, the alanine Cahill cycle, okay? In beta oxidation, in the TCA cycle, even in lactic acid dehydrogenase pathway for anaerobic glycolysis. So, kailangan mo malaman yung fate niya, kaya siya napaka-important na molecule. You have to know the fate. Okay? And you need to know also the cofactors involved. Dito mas specific na siya. Pag ALT, di ba? Ang sabi ko, pag involved lagi ang ating amino acids, okay, usually, yung mga alanine, for example, para sa iyong alanine Cahill cycle, B6 ang ating cofactor dyan. Okay? Pag wala ka nang maisip na sagot, pag involved amino acid, baka B6 ang sagot. Okay? That's a testmanship concept. Carboxylase, guys, biotin. Pyruvate dehydrogenase, the mediating step between glycolysis and TCA cycle. Napaka-important ng enzyme na yan. Siya yung checkpoint bago makapasok ang pyruvate into your TCA cycle, your citric acid cycle. Cofactors, 5 yan ha. B1, B2, B3, B5, and your lipoic acid. Okay, parang lipoic acid is actually hindi pa siya vitamin, okay, pero parang ina-up siya as a possible vitamin in the body because of its cofactor effect for your pyruvate dehydrogenase. Okay? The other one naman is your fourth pathway, the lactic acid cycle, the Cori cycle. Okay? So, kailangan siya para ma-replenish mo yung iyong lactic acid, making it glucose again. Okay? Take note guys, anaerobic glycolysis is a major pathway in RBCs, WBCs, kidney medulla, lens, testes, and your cornea. Okay guys, I've asked this before in your discussion before sa inyong diagnostic exam. Take note the inhibitors involved. Okay? The inhibitors, rotenone, complex 1, antrimycin, the IDEs, okay? Complex 4 siya, cyanide, carbon monoxide, azide. Oligomycin, complex 5, same lang po yan sa ating ATP synthase. Oligomycin inhibits your ATP synthase and complex 5 in the electric transport chain. Okay? Guys, remember a while ago your brown fatty acids? Thermogenin is the one that induces your brown fat lipolysis, causing your non-shivering thermogenesis in your lower mammals. Cahill cycle and Cori cycle. Okay? Kasi may mga tao nalilito dyan. So let's differentiate them. Both of them involve liver and muscle organs. Okay? Cahill cycle involves glucose and alanine. Kailangan kasi ito para matanggal ang excess nitrogen kapag ikaw ay nagkakaroon ng breakdown of amino acids. Cori cycle. Kailangan siya para ma-replenish mo ang iyong lactic acid that is building up in anaerobic processes para magkaroon ka ng extra source of glucose for your muscle. So ginagawa niya, lactic acid from the muscle, pinapadala niya sa ating liver para maging siyang glucose ulit. Tapos si liver, pinapadala si glucose to your muscle para magamit siya ulit. So it's being used to extend your use for anaerobic exercises. Okay? An overview of your metabolic pathways. Okay? So at least matake note yung mga key concepts na baka magkamali along the way. It's very important. Now, some dash of immunity, guys. Okay, this is mostly as discussed in patho. But again, this is medical biology, biochemistry. May mga tumatagas ko din na topics into our subject, into our own realm, di ba? So, let's have a konting discussion about them. Neutrophils, guys, the most predominant cell in the peripheral blood, followed by your lymphocytes. Guys, ang unang nag-respond parate in an inflammation are the neutrophils in the first 6 to 24 hours, according to Robbins, followed by your monocytes. The monocytes are transformed, are transformed macrophages. These are macrophages. Ay, sorry. Nalito ako bigla. Sorry. Monocytes, these are blood cells. Now, in response to inflammation, they become macrophages after. Okay? They occur in inflammation after the 6 to 24-hour period. Ang iyong eosinophils, guys, they are increased in helminthic infections. Now, bakit minsan toxic ang iyong eosinophilia? Eosinophils kasi, meron siyang tinatawag ng major basic protein. This is a very strong enzyme na effective against your helminth infections. Pero ito, sabi mo kanina, toxic siya sa katawan. Bakit? What is the type of cell meron ng ating mga helminths? They are eukaryotes. They're found in domain eukarya. Okay, same as us, humans. We're also eukaryotes. So because of that, if ang MVP ay nakaka-damage sa mga eukaryotes, kaya niya rin ma-damage ang ating human cells. Okay? Moreover, there's a specific function of eosinophils. They clear immune complexes in the periphery, in the peripheral blood. Why is this important? Kasi kapag ang mga immune complexes ay nag-deposit, for example, sa mga basement membrane ng ating kidneys, ng ating lungs, baka magkaroon ka ng tinatawag na hypersensitivity reaction. What type? Ano sabi ni Doc Ilomina? It's type 3. The immune complex-mediated hypersensitivity reaction. So they should be cleared by your eosinophils. While basophils naman, they have your histamine and heparin. They are the ones that mediate your systemic allergic reactions. Lymphocytes, ang pinaka-bida dyan ay T cells and B cells. Most lymphocytes are T cells. Okay? T cells, they are mostly for the cellular arm of immunity. They have cytotoxic T cells, helper T cells, and regulatory T cells. B cells naman, they are for the humoral response. When you say humoral, hindi sila nakakatawa. Okay? Ang point yan is they secrete humors. Humors are dissolved substances. And one of them are your antibodies. Kaya siya humoral immune response. Now, NK cells, these are lymphocytes, but they are not part of the adaptive immunity. Kasi they are part of the innate immunity. Ang pinaka-trabaho niya is to destroy virally infected cells and tumoral cells in the body. That's the main role of your NK cells, or natural killer cells. Okay, and they do it via two mechanisms. One, your perforin granzyme enzyme system. Perforin, ang ginagawa niya, you have a cell, perforin perforates the cell na kalaban. Okay, tapos si NK cells will plant a bomb inside. The bomb are your granzymes. ADCC naman, ang point niyan ay antibody-dependent cell-mediated cytotoxicity. Ang point niyan is mas gumagana si NK cells kapag meron siyang kasama na antibodies, such as IgG. Okay? So T cells, diba sabi ko kanina, have 3 types. Cytotoxic, okay, they are the ones killing your endogenous antigens. Okay? Mga viral, solid proteins, ganun. Helper T cells naman mga exogenous na antigens usually. Mga bacterial proteins yan. Treg cells naman, they are for regulation. They terminate the inflammation of the body. While plasma cells, yan ang derivative ng ating B cells. B cells become plasma cells. They produce antibodies and immunoglobulins. Wala siya sa slide ko, but what cell serves as the link between innate immunity and adaptive immunity? That is your dendritic cell. It was a testable question. Dendritic cell is the major antigen presenting cell of the body. Ano yun, Dok? Ang ginagawa niya, kapag sinira ng isang granulocyte ang isang infected the cell or a bacteria, for example, magkakaroon niya ng para mga fragments. Those fragments contains antigen. Now, para matandaan ng katawan mo yung kalaban na yun, kukunin mo yung fragment na yan, pupunta ka kay T lymphocyte, kay helper T cell. Helper T cell, ganyan. Ito yung ating antigen. Para makala mo siya next time, boss. So, Siya yung link between the innate immunity involving your macrophages, neutrophils, linking your innate immunity to your adaptive immunity. Kasi involved na dyan ang ating mga lymphocytes. That is how your immunity works. Okay? Now, complement system, guys. Doc, ba't wala sa note mo yan? Kasi it's not that important na memorize mo siya. You only have to know the important stuff here. That the complement system, kaya siya complement kasi it is a set of proteins that complements the innate immune system. It's a complementary function of the immune system. There are 3 ways para ma-trigger siya. First one, we have your classic pathway, kung saan involved dyan ang ating antibodies, namely IgG and IgM. Kaya sila strong complement activators. Lectin naman, kailangan meron kang mannose, usually found in the surface of your microbes. While alternative naman, they are triggered kapag meron kang mga microbial surfaces. So basically, ang point niyan ay gagawa ka ng isang tinatawag na set of convertases along the way. What you have to know here, guys, are the products of this pathway. Kasi it represents the 3 functions of the complement system: cell lysis, opsonization, and chemotaxis. Now, ang product ng ating complement system, you have your one, it can form the membrane attack protein. Basically, binubutas yung ating cell para siya ay mag-lyse, yung mga bacterial cells. So, kailangan mo ng C5b to C6 to C7 to C8 to C9. Okay? Board relevant question. What bacteria, the risk of this bacteria is increased if you have ang term late complement deficiency. Late complement deficiency refers to the last numbered complement proteins, or C5b to C9. So if you have deficiency in this kind of enzymes, you have a higher risk for what organism? Higher risk for having Neisseria organisms. Neisseria. Okay, next. Opsonization. Ang opsonization na ginagawa niya ay pinapayami niya ang mga bacterial pathogens para mas madali siyang kainin ng ating mga different phagocytes in the bloodstream. Okay, yummy, C3p. Okay? While chemotaxis is your C5a. Okay? Pero hindi lang siya ang chemotaxis, ha. As mentioned, marami tayong nabinanggit na so far. Ano ba mga chemotactic na substances so far sa mga nabanggit ko? C5a, leukotriene B4, ano pa? Prostaglandin B2, and of course, your microbial proteins. They are very, very strong chemotactic agents. Okay? Para ma-remember yan, Doc, think of a taxi going along the C5 extension. And that's all for my summary lecture for biochemistry. Okay? Remember, guys, fire is a test of gold, adversity of strong men. Guys, huwag kayo matakot dyan. We're always under stress right now. Daming emotions, daming feelings, konting may mangyari, kakabahan kayo. It's fine. It's fine. We're normal human beings. You'll grow from that experience to be better doctors along the way. So stick to the fight. Your hardest hit. Okay? Kaya-kaya niyan, guys. Rest if you must, but don't you quit.